Alright, I just started. Alright, so yeah, what's been going on the whole time? Like, in the past year, you been doing anything really, or just hanging out?
Past year, yeah, I've really just been hanging out. I did have my little break. I did transition into university now. I was in high school, but now I'm in university, so different environment. It's all online based. It's a little weird situation.
I was gonna say, how's that going with the pandemic?
Yeah, lots of indoors, like indoor time, and school is okay. It's not as interactive, which, it has its benefits and also its drawbacks too.
Yeah, I'm a lab tech, so I never got a break. I was front and center the whole pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll admit it worried me a little bit for the movie, but I think it's gonna do just fine. Just seeing like all the traction it's getting at this point.
Yeah, like honestly, I was even surprised by the trailer views. Like, really has how many? Like 60 million already. I'm like, wow, that is actually pretty impressive. I never thought it would actually reach.
Last I checked, it was 61 million. It might be like 62 by now.
Yeah, that was wow. I mean, that's insane. Honestly, like I never even expected this. So that definitely gave me confidence.
Yeah, and what's really good about it specifically is I see like all pages posting about it. Like it's like Godzilla became front and center again in the news. Like I'm a big fan of like bodybuilding and stuff. That's a sport I follow, and they're even posting about it. Like a bunch of people are doing edits of it with like them next to Godzilla, and like they're comparing two people with Godzilla and Kong. Like it's really cool. It's like and it's on a bunch of meme pages too. I'm just glad to see like it's actually back like popular again.
Yeah, really.
When King of the Monsters was coming, you really didn't see it anywhere.
Exactly. Like there's a very clear distinction in terms of like general popularity between Godzilla vs Kong and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Like I think there's also like some TikToks for Godzilla vs Kong, and celebrities are talking about Godzilla vs Kong.
Oh yeah.
Which they did not do for King of the Monsters or even the Snyder. That actually was kind of surprising. Seeing the Snyder fan thing himself like clearly shows that this movie is a very big rival for our movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of a cool feeling, I guess, for your franchise.
Yeah. All right. So you want to get into talking about the movie a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Anything in particular, or just?
All right. So we're gonna start with everyone's favorite conspiracy theory. Would you say? And I just wanted to get your stance on it. So, do you think at all in this movie we're gonna see MechaGodzilla disguised as Godzilla?
I do not believe that.
No. Well, I'm on the fence about it. I'm really not sure. I've listened to a bunch of arguments both ways, and they both make really good points. So, something I wanted to do is I wanted to go through a few pictures and get your opinion on some things, and we can argue, why this might be or why this may not be either Godzilla or MechaGodzilla. That's cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, let's pull up some pictures. I'm about to share my screen in a second. There we go. Okay. So this is obviously him when he hops up on the aircraft carrier, and people seem to think, from what I've seen, that this is actually MechaGodzilla fighting Kong on the aircraft carrier. Do you think it is or it's not? And do you think there's any possibility this could be, or do you think there's no way that they would actually put like the biggest fight between the two with it actually being MechaGodzilla?
So I definitely don't think that term in particular is fake Godzilla, especially that one, because like the skin is like all moving and everything. It's a very hyper realistic disguise. I mean, it's a big Godzilla, very hyper realistic, which I don't know, it seems a little out there, but yeah, I think that is the actual Godzilla right there. Also, he was in the ocean too, so and also there's later on in that scene, Kong, like a few seconds later, Kong punches Godzilla, and if it was metal, like wouldn't Kong kind of feel that it was metal or something? So yeah, I don't think that's fake Godzilla.
Yeah. So the counter argument to that I've been hearing is people are saying that because of the end credits in the first movie, they think that they're using Ghidorah's head, which possibly means like they could have gotten his cells from it, and this is actually like Ghidorah's regrown skin around Godzilla that they made to like use like a skin around MechaGodzilla. Do you think that's possible, or do you think that's just like kind of out there?
I've never heard of that. Just that's actually kind of interesting. But I think the Ghidorah head has something to do with MechaGodzilla, but not in that way. I think it's more like Godzilla's upset because they're using the Ghidorah brain or Ghidorah whatever. I don't even know if it's the brain. I'm just saying it's the brain.
It was his head in the end credits, but yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of theories about the brain and stuff. Like, oh, they implanted it into MechaGodzilla and then it regrows or something. There's a lot of theories about that. But anyway, Godzilla's basically very upset that, I guess Apex in this case, has some Ghidorah type stuff. And he realizes, oh, they have my arch nemesis, so let me just try and defeat Apex or whatever. And there's a little bit off point from this particular scene, but like there's other shots of Godzilla attacking Apex facilities. So it'd be a little weird if they made this Godzilla attack their own facilities, unless it's the real Godzilla. But then I don't know. That just seems a little odd in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you heard that they're just mind controlling Godzilla, and at the same time they're planning to use MechaGodzilla? Because another argument I've heard, I think ETN Entertainment Talk Network said this, that it really doesn't make sense if they're controlling Godzilla. That like they wouldn't need to control Godzilla if they had MechaGodzilla with his skin, because they could easily just go around and frame Godzilla that way. So they're saying it's either one of the two, or it could be both. So Godzilla is being mind controlled, and they have MechaGodzilla with Godzilla's skin, or that it's only one of the two.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with ETN in that case, because I don't think, like, if you have a fake Godzilla with hyper realistic skin and everything, then just use that. Like, it'll be kind of pointless to be using the actual Godzilla, manipulating him and all that jazz. So I think it would have to be one or the other. I was once a proponent of Godzilla being mind controlled, or I guess you can say mind controlled with like the Orca or something. But realizing that Godzilla's attacking Apex facilities, which would not be in the best interest of Apex, then I kind of ditched that idea and like, oh, well, Godzilla's probably upset that Apex is building MechaGodzilla and Ghidorah and all that kind of stuff.
I wonder if that could be following the continuity of, I think it was Godzilla against MechaGodzilla. Didn't Mothra get upset that the company was taking the old Godzilla bones and using them for the MechaGodzilla, so she was angry about that or something? Or am I misremembering that?
No, that's right. Wow, I never even thought of that. That's a really good idea. Yeah, maybe Godzilla's upset, like, because they could be using Dagon's bones, like the old Godzilla that died.
That's true.
They could be using his bones, and so Godzilla realizes, it's like, wow, they're using family members' bones to create a mechanized version of myself to kill me. Like, that's just not cool, bro. So he could be having that thought process. That very well could be. Yeah, that's really good thought there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we can go to another image. Okay, so the next argument I've heard is the atomic breath argument, because alright, I'm going to pull up this picture here. Alright, so this is, if you remember, when he shoots his atomic breath underwater through the boat, destroying the boat. So you remember this, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go to this one. This is when he's attacking the Apex facility. I think this is the Apex facility, right? Or the nuclear plant? Something like that?
Yeah, one of those two.
Okay, so it looks similar there. Now, this is the only reason where if I had to pick, I'd lean about 60-40 as if MechaGodzilla is disguised as Godzilla. So you just saw those two. Now, let's go to the last scene of the first trailer. Why does it look so different here?
I mean, I don't think it's drastically different.
I think it just looks a little more concentrated, and there's a lot less, like smokiness around it. If you know what I mean.
Okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. I think. Okay.
Yeah, I could probably pull them up side by side.
Yeah, compared to the one with where he's like shooting the boat or whatever, or even that one too. But I think the thing with like for that one in particular, like it's more of a like like that one, the one with the nuclear plant. It's kind of like a human perspective.
Yeah.
So you're more susceptible to seeing like gases, and, there's explosions here everywhere, and it's kind of like nighttime and all that kind of stuff. So you're more susceptible to having a blurred view of the beam. While here, this is more of a perspective shot, like outside. Like this is not a human perspective shot or something. This is like you're outside or whatever, and you can see it more clearly. And it's also the beam is more elongated here, so like clearly you can see more of it. While here, on the nuclear plant scene, it's more again, it's more like the beam towards you, kind of blurry and all that kind of stuff. And also, I just think it's more of a CGI type thing, like how there's inconsistency CGI.
Yeah.
But that's what I would say about that certain inconsistency in terms of the beam effect.
Okay. I mean, I really don't know. I'm just trying to look at the argument from all angles, really.
Yeah.
And so my theory, and the only reason I'm leaning 60-40, as I said, is because I think if we are getting a MechaGodzilla disguised as Godzilla, I think this is it right here. And that is only because the beam looks so different here that this might be. But I'm not. Maybe Godzilla powers up again at some point, and he just can control it better or something like that. Because if you remember the toy leaks, there were different versions of Godzilla. Like, remember there was a MechaGodzilla apparently, and a Mega Kong. So unless they scrapped that idea completely, maybe it made its way into the movie or something, and this could possibly be it. So I'm not sure if maybe this is him, and as soon as Kong hits him with the axe, that's when we get his reveal, possibly.
Okay, I do get your point. But I would also like to say that maybe Godzilla realizes here that the Kong axe is absorbing his own atomic breath. Maybe he realized that in this particular scene, or maybe it was before that scene, I don't know. Maybe he realizes that. And so then his strategy now, and because presumably it can like attract his beam potentially, because some people were mentioning that, and I think that's kind of possible. So maybe his strategy here is to concentrate his beam to the absolute max, so that the axe gets destroyed prior to the axe hitting him, and that's why the beam's more concentrated, less smoky. That's also another idea, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, it's an interesting concept both ways. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer, because the continuity. If these movies love Easter eggs, as we know, especially the second movie, and to follow some of the continuity. And in the first MechaGodzilla movie, that's how he's revealed. So it's not. I don't think it's wild, or it's too wild to guess that he is in disguise. Could be. It just depends if the movie decides to go with hyper real. Well, I mean, not realism exactly, but depending on their choice of realism with certain aspects.
Yeah, like I think the monsterverse is capable of having a fake Godzilla, but I just don't see why they would do it per se, because you have the Orca, that could be a great device for controlling Godzilla. You can do that aspect, or you can do that Godzilla's very upset aspect, or there's just different ways of approaching it, and I just don't see enough evidence, which you're gonna show me more stuff, so that's good. But as of right now, I don't see enough evidence to show it's fake Godzilla. And plus, it would be kind of a cop out of the title, like Godzilla vs Kong.
Yeah, I don't think
Fake Godzilla vs Kong.
I don't think the movie would waste itself being MechaGodzilla the whole most of the movie, and then the real one comes up at the end. I think that's just I don't think they would do that with that movie, just because it's kind of ingenuine to the title.
Yeah, I see a lot of people say, "Oh, it's Godzilla appears at the very end because Kong realized it's fake Godzilla, and then Godzilla comes by and then they team up." That would not be a good idea because then that completely rips off the entire title. So if you're gonna have fake Godzilla and that stuff, then have the fake Godzilla reveal at maybe the middle. Maybe Kong gets defeated, and then Godzilla approaches Kong, and then they fight, and then like that maybe.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that would be the case.
Okay, so this is the last shot I have on that subject, and it's from the new footage or newer footage. This was just a blurry shot, so that's the best one I could get. But you know what shot this is, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's from the Japanese trailer. So again, I'm not exactly sure with the breath here. It kind of looks mixed in between what we saw when he was shooting the beam at Kong's axe and then when he's at the facility. But do you think this is him destroying the nuclear facility, or do you think this is something else?
I think that's definitely Godzilla attacking the nuclear facility or Apex Lab or whatever, because Godzilla looks very pissed here. You can see the arms there. He's like clenching them, like he's very pissed off. And this is an Apex facility, so if Apex had fake Godzilla, they would not be making their own Godzilla attack their own facilities. So I think this is definitely Godzilla. He's very upset at Apex for creating MechaG or having some of Ghidorah or something of that sort.
Yeah. I think I have to agree there. I don't really think there's... I don't know, this shot could be anything, but it just looks kind of the same environment as a nuclear facility. So that's what I'm going to guess it is. But still, I'm glad we get a lot more shots of him using his atomic breath, because I think it just hasn't been used enough in the series so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I really love that we're seeing Godzilla attack human, like the army or buildings, like that. That's really cool. I kind of wanted that in 2014, especially with that 2012 teaser that showed like the buildings and everything's destroyed, and then Godzilla emerges. I was like, oh, God, this is so exciting. Godzilla's showing all the city and everything, and the evil, and we didn't really get that. So I'm really glad they went with that approach, kind of in this movie.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible he's not even being mind controlled at all, and the deception that they're giving off through the trailers is that people think Godzilla's evil, but he's actually just hurting the shadow organization that's actually planning to use the Titans for nefarious purposes, like in the video description? Do you think that's possible, or do you think he is being mind controlled at some point?
I think that is my idea right there, where he's not. I don't think he's being mind controlled. I think it's just Godzilla being pissed, and he's specifically targeting Apex. You do see an image of a map in the trailer, where it talks about where Godzilla's attacked.
Yeah.
And they've all been areas where there was an Apex facility. There was one in South America, one in Africa, all these different places, all near Apex facilities. So clearly, he's targeting Apex. And the people in Monarch also know that. There's a little post-it note that says something along the lines of Godzilla Apex connection or something of that sort. So I think Godzilla is purposefully attacking Apex facilities on his own doing. It's just that the public and Monarch has no idea what they're doing, so they're assuming that he's being evil, but they do not realize that Apex is doing nefarious things, such as building a MechaGodzilla or holding the Ghidorah specimen or whatever, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think the trailer is almost like a Monarch perspective of things, where you really have no idea why Godzilla is doing this. Like, why is he being rogue all of a sudden? This is so odd. But in the actual movie, maybe at the end or in the middle, you'll realize Godzilla's side. he's trying to actually be restoring balance. Because Godzilla's usually right in all the movies. He's been correct about his own motivation. So I think Godzilla will be right this time as well. And Monarch and everybody else are just kind of in the way, misconstruing what his true motivations are.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. I just wanted to pull up this again because I just wanted to go over one thing real quick. So I've had people say also, or I've heard people say, that this is specifically MechaGodzilla because people mention the spine glow too, how it looks different in all the shots. But they think this is like kind of the mechanized breath right here. So I just wanted to go to the next two pictures to show people, and I think you'll agree with me that this looks more close to the actual monsterverse breath than any of them, especially at the last shot, because this was his breath in the first movie. So you can see it has this cloudy stream on the side. And then this is his breath in the second movie, which also has, I mean, this was when he was supercharged, but this also has the cloudy stream. So I think this is just closest. It's following the same continuity as these two because it looks almost identical. It's got aspects of both of them.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It looks very smoky. It looks, I don't know how to put it, but more weak looking, I guess. It doesn't look as concentrated.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's definitely Godzilla, and plus, people make mention of the spines. Well, it looks pretty similar to other scenes where Godzilla is shooting at the atomic breath with the spines, and I think it's also CGI, and this is an Apex facility he's attacking, so I don't think, it's fake Godzilla for that reason.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to touch on that aspect of MechaGodzilla being in the movie?
I guess one thing is that particular shot. I know a lot of people have been mentioning it looks like the scene in Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla, where Godzilla is shooting his eye beams at the city, and so people are saying, "Oh, it looks very similar to that." So therefore, this is proof it's fake Godzilla. There's also a lot of shots of Godzilla doing that same exact thing. I think in 1984, there's a scene exactly like that. It's never seen in 1989, Godzilla vs. Violence. It looks exactly like that. So I think that's definitely one of the weaker arguments for fake Godzilla. And I'm not saying that's the only argument, but I just wanted to address that one particular idea that's out there.
Okay. I was gonna get into this later, but I can ask you now, since we're on the same topic. Do you think we should see MechaGodzilla before the movie? Do you think we should see him at all, if like more than we already have in the trailers, or do you think he should stay completely in the background until the movie?
I think completely in the background. I know all of us, well, I don't know about all of us, but most of us fans know MechaGodzilla is in the movie because, we break it down and all that good stuff. And because of that, I kind of do want to see Mecha-G before the movie because I'm really excited to see him and how he looks like. Does it look like RPO Godzilla too? Because according to some people, the toy is not a good representation of the actual movie design, which makes sense. So I really want to see it, but at the same time, there's also the general audience. The general audience makes up like 90% or 80% of the viewing audience. And so because of that, I don't want the general audience to be seeing MechaGodzilla because that could ruin the hype, or that could make them not see the movie because, it's Batman v Superman again.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I do not want Godzilla shown at all anymore. You could have minor glimpses here that only those who break down the trailer notice, but don't make it so blatant, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I agree fully. I don't think we should see MechaGodzilla before. I think him either if people are right and he is in disguise and he comes out of disguise, then I think that would be a first cool reveal. Otherwise, we should see him in whatever other fashion he comes out in. But I don't think we should see him in a trailer.
Exactly. Yeah. I think so far they're doing good. Like Godzilla, you can kind of see him in the first second of the trailer. You see a diagram and whatnot in the background. Stuff like that is fine because the general audience is not going to be breaking down this trailer. It's going to be fans. It's going to be movie nerds, all those type of people. So that's fine. But all of a sudden it's showing, it's MechaGodzilla. The character announces it, and you see MechaGodzilla and all that. No, I don't want that. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, alright, so we can move on to the next topic. So we had a little bit of new footage recently, and there's this shot in particular that I wanted to go over with you. Because people think this is like one of the highlight shots. Okay, so you recognize this shot, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shot there. Yeah.
So this is what people think is Godzilla sneaking up in the background, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know how I'm the only one to notice this, but I want to bring up one more image to compare this side by side. Here we go. Okay, this is from the first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put these side by side. And I think what only I've seen one other person mention is that I don't think this is Godzilla sneaking up on Kong. I think this is Godzilla dodging Kong's axe, because if you look here, his axe is stuck in this building.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look here, do you see this in the background?
Yeah, the axe is also there.
The axe is also stuck in the building. So I think, I'm not saying this is when he leaps and Godzilla dodges it, maybe, but I think this definitely is Godzilla dodging Kong's axe. I don't know why else he would swing an axe into a building. But, so, yeah, I thought I was like one of the only people who actually noticed this.
Okay. Yeah, I never even noticed it. Like when the trailer drops, I never noticed it for a very long time. But then, and I was doing a live stream and someone noticed it, like, wow, this is actually the axe. So, good find on that person and on your part as well. Because I didn't notice it earlier.
I noticed this. I didn't notice. Someone else pointed out that it was here too. But yeah, I did recognize here that it was stuck in this building.
Yeah. I didn't notice the shot with Kong punching Godzilla, or I guess hitting Godzilla. I did not notice that one. But yeah, I think you could very well be right. I think Kong probably swings the axe, and then it misses, and then we get a scene with Kong punching Godzilla or doing all the stuff to Godzilla, so that Godzilla gets down for a little bit, then Kong can get back up, get his axe, and then hit Godzilla back with it. But it seems like, of course, Godzilla's sneaking up to him. You could also make the idea that maybe this is after the scene with the Kong absorption axe scene that we see in the final in the trailer at the very end. Maybe that giant explosion causes the axe to fly into some building, and so now the rest of this little mini sequence is Kong trying to get back his axe because he realized it was very effective.
Yeah.
And Godzilla's constantly attempting to try and not let him get the axe. Basically disarm him constantly. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. So I actually didn't recognize this either until I went back and watched the first trailer. But if you pause it just at the end or put it in slow motion when the axe makes impact with Godzilla, you can actually see Kong flying back. And I didn't realize that until I put it in like slow motion and went frame by frame. In the last shot, you actually see Kong like fly back a little bit because of the explosion. So I think he does get knocked back from that hit. I think they both get knocked over.
Yeah. Godzilla looks almost like stationary, which is a little weird, but I think in the very next shot, Godzilla will probably be on to the other side. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to bring up a point about that particular scene again with the axe launching the building.
Yeah, sure. This image here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay. Go ahead.
A lot of people have been saying this is when they team up. Like at this point, this is when they team up against MechaGodzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they say that is because Godzilla seems he's a bit in the back. They're both facing towards something, and there's also a scene where Godzilla almost moves a little bit, like he's startled or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't think that is the case. I think the team up would probably happen in the daytime, which would be I don't know. I prefer nighttime battles honestly, but
I do too.
I guess
honestly.
So I think the team up will be in the daytime, and this is really just as Godzilla sneaking up on Kong and not some team up moments, in my opinion. I know a lot of people have been mentioning that to me, so I just wanted to address that.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard to. One thing it's hard to do actually is piece together the timeline of this movie because it seems like there's just a lot going on, kind of like King of the Monsters. But um,
Mhm.
yeah. So next shot I wanted to go over with you is this one right here. As soon as it comes up. Okay, so this is from the first trailer. You realize where this is the first time we see the axe in the daylight. But what confuses me a little bit is that they're both standing around a destroyed city, and it almost looks like Godzilla seeing this axe for the first time. So when do you think this? I have an idea of when I think this is, but when do you think this is in the movie?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because like Godzilla notices it and then goes back.
Yeah.
Almost as if he's barely acknowledging it exists or something. A little weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think this is probably the ending. In daytime, the city's absolutely destroyed from what we know. So far, it seems like Florida takes some part of the movie because of those like Pensacola, Florida, or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think, where the FX thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then we have Hong Kong, and then we have Hollow Earth. I don't know what other city they would be. And so I think this is the very end. Maybe this is after the team up or something, and then Godzilla, after they defeat Mecha they are in a bit of a. They're about to fight, but then they realize, so let's just go in our own ways. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is the very end of the movie.
Okay. So when I think this is in the movie, I think this is when Kong just gets the axe and comes up to the surface. Because, I mean, I don't know if the weather up here reflects the Hollow Earth, but in the scene where Kong puts his hand on the print in the Hollow Earth and gets the axe, you'll notice in that scene it is daytime, and then in this same shot, the axe isn't lit up blue yet, which means it's not charged, and it's also in the daytime. So I think this is when he just comes up from the Hollow Earth, and I think this is the first time we see him fight him with the axe.
So, what do you think of like Godzilla cause out destruction? What do you say?
I think so. I mean, for all the conspiracy buffs out there, this might be when we see MechaGodzilla's reveal. Who knows? This could be MechaGodzilla, and then he could have just destroyed this stuff, and then this could be Kong taking a swing at him, and then that's where we see there's a robotic piece in his skin, and then that's when we could see him.
Okay, well, you bring up a really good point about it not being absorbed.
Yeah, it's not glowing.
Well, it's clearly not absorbed here. It's clearly not absorbed, or glowing, yeah. And in all the other shots, it is glowing.
Yeah.
Even in the shots where, at first I thought, oh, maybe it's just because Godzilla's shooting at it, but there's other shots clearly where Godzilla's not shooting a beam at it, and it's glowing as well. So that's a really good point you bring up. But I'm not sure. I think this destroyed city, like, this looks... I don't know. I think that might be... I think that's Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
After the main battle had occurred. And maybe the reason why... maybe after a while, the axe, like, kind of loses its glow or something.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I don't even know how to... Or maybe it could be where... Assuming this is a team-up, like, after the team-up, maybe Kong, or Godzilla, they team up, and Kong uses his axe, and they basically use all the energy possible in that axe to destroy Godzilla, and that loses its glow, maybe, or something. That's the only thing I could really say. But overall, this shot right here is kind of weird, and other shots where we have like the new TV spot and whatnot, those shots are also in the daytime. So overall, very weird. But I still do think that that's the ending. Sorry, that one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could be, especially because in the new footage, when we see Kong laying on the ground and the little girl comes up to him, it is daylight. So that could be here. Do you think also that Kong loses it? Do you think Kong fights Godzilla without the axe at any point besides the aircraft carrier? Because if you remember, unless it's Kong roaring at something else, there's that one scene where he throws his fists up and then snarls at the camera and it zooms in on him. That's also in the daytime, but he doesn't have his axe with him. So maybe that could be on Skull Island, or that could be a fight with Godzilla. What do you think?
Yeah, there's also a scene edited directly after this one, according to the trailer, where you actually see Kong in the daytime when he's about to fight, and he also has no axe there as well. But I think those shots could very well be Kong about to fight MechaGodzilla or something. I don't know, but in terms of the original question, I think the aircraft carrier scene is the only part where he's not utilizing the axe. I think what will go on was, or basically what's going to happen is, according to my speculation, is that he loses the aircraft battle, and that's when he goes to Hollow Earth, sees the axe, and this is kind of like his triumphant moment, or like character arc. Well, I don't know what else you can describe it as, or like I'm going to bring vengeance to my ancestors and myself. And so that's when he utilizes the axe in the Hong Kong battle scene. So I think there's no point where he's not going to use the axe. There is going to be scenes where the axe is thrown somewhere and then he has to fist fights. And I think in those daytime shots that you mentioned, including the one where his eyes are open, staring directly at the camera, I think that's also in Hong Kong. I can't really substantiate that. But I think that's also Hong Kong, and maybe he's got to fight Mecha G or something. I don't know. That's what I think.
Okay. Do you think because I've heard this one, that MechaGodzilla's role isn't that big in the movie? I think specifically D-Man said that a while back ago. Do you think MechaGodzilla will be able to actually do any substantial damage to each of them, or do you think he's just kind of going to be there in the background? And not really much of a threat to either of them?
When you say background, do you mean or when you say threat, are you referring to just when they're battling, or do you mean the one that's orchestrating things, like a big plot points, or you mean just a very...
in terms of the damage he can do to either of the monsters, do you think it'll be substantial?
I think that's a good question. I'm not exactly sure if that person. Some people say, oh, MechaGodzilla has no role, is really weak, and some people have even gone to say that MechaGodzilla would actually be defeated against a normal, a fresh Godzilla. So that is why Godzilla's fighting Kong, so that Godzilla gets weakened, and then they bring in MechaGodzilla, and then they can defeat him easily. So I've heard a lot of that as well. So I'm not entirely sure. I hope MechaGodzilla here is extremely powerful. Lots of missiles, lots of beams, can put tons of damage. But
so you think he's going to be more like a Kiryu type Godzilla, MechaGodzilla?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I think it will be more like a Kiryu type situation, which I guess it's fine, but I would prefer if he was super, just all powerful being almost.
Okay, I mean, anyone, I guess you could say that humans weren't that well equipped to fight monsters, but I was thinking about that. I was thinking of using it as an argument, but then again, in the last movie, they nearly killed Godzilla. So, you got to think by now that they could very well have something to fight Titans on their own, because they did develop the Oxygen Destroyer on their own. So they probably do have something to fight them. It's just I'm not sure how effective they'll be against them physically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, theoretically, they could just build 5 billion Oxygen Destroyers and then just launch them, and then Apex steals one of them, and then their control's dead or something. But obviously they can't do that because the movie's over in 10 seconds or something.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see the Oxygen Destroyer return, to be honest. Maybe a hint of it here and there, but I don't think we're gonna see it used again.
Yeah, I agree. There's some theories though, or claims, I guess, where they state that the scene with Kong being chained up and he's looking downwards at the water where Godzilla's about to emerge.
The green liquid in the collar?
Yeah, the green liquid. Some people have said that's Oxygen Destroyer liquid juice, I think, because it's green. And I think that's a really cool idea. And they went on to say that, this is after that scene, then little crabs or crustaceans go on it, and then they turn into destroy it or something. Which I think that's a cool idea, but I think it's a little out there. I think it's kind of funny. pointless for them to do that. I think they would just do something else.
Yeah,
But anyway, yeah, I agree. Optimus Short is not in the movie.
I don't think that's I don't think that's too accurate, because when you think about it, the oxygen destroyer is meant to literally destroy their cells, and I don't think they would be using it to sedate them. I think if it got in their bloodstream, it would just kill them.
Yeah, that's
more than likely. I mean, we're using some like kaiju doctor terms here, but yeah, I think you pointed out that you think the green liquid is most likely Warbat venom or Nazuki venom, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I do.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's probably the most likely theory. Either they got it from them directly, or that they just isolated the compound in it in order to make their own liquid.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
It's also a little weird because Warbat or Nazuki, whatever,
yeah,
they tend to be in the Hollow Earth. I think they said that they're Hollow Earth creatures, so I guess the humans went to the Hollow Earth, or maybe Nazuki came out of the Hollow Earth or something. I'm not sure how the process went, but I assume they have some database for a Warbat, I think, so maybe you can extract some from there or something. I don't know, but that is something I noticed afterwards. But I still think it's Warbat venom. So.
Yeah. So that's actually a good transition into the next topic. One thing I like about this movie is that, and I hope they don't go the same King of the Monsters route, is they're throwing a lot of kaiju into this movie. And hopefully we get to see a good amount of them, like for a longer period of time. So another thing that's in the background that seems, I mean, if there's a toy of it, then it must have a pretty good role in the movie. But what do you think the Skullcrawler's role is going to be?
Skullcrawler, yeah, lots of Skullcrawler figures.
And I only mentioned him specifically because if you notice, I mean, there's a knockoff eBay toy apparently of Behemoth. There's a toy of Nazuki. There's not a toy of Methuselah or Scylla or any of that. Specifically they chose Warbat and Skullcrawler. So what do you think they're both? I mean, obviously, by your theory, Nazuki's going to have a role, but what do you think the Skullcrawler's role is going to be?
I think the Skullcrawler will be pretty minor. I think it's more fodder, kind of like the Warbats themselves. I think maybe I would like the Skullcrawler to have a bigger role. Like maybe somehow that's the queen or something. But I think that should be left maybe for Kong 2 or something. Maybe that Red Skullcrawler is kind of teased and that's it or something. But I think that Red Skullcrawler just emerges, Kong deals with it really quickly, and that's about it. I think it's honestly just fodder. I think later on in the movie, Kong will have more fodder, aka that scene where he's in the Hollow Earth fighting the Warbats, or that could be a flashback too. But
yeah.
In terms of the Skullcrawler, I think I'll have a pretty minor role. I think Behemoth will also have a minor role, which I assume is in the movie because of the toys that you also mentioned right now.
Yeah.
I think Behemoth will just be in the background a little bit. I think it would be cool if he was in a battle. But
I think it would be too.
I don't know. I just don't think. I think it would just be kind of there, just in the background.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, you think it should be saved for another movie, or it should the Skullcrawler to just have like a minor role? So do you think it's going to be similar to like, how we saw King Muto in King of the Monsters, where you just kind of see him there, and then that's really it. There's nothing major about him. There's nothing. He has no important role. You just kind of see him.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's going to be exactly like that. I'll do a comparison, by the way, because King Muto, brand new design, brand new everything, but just kind of relegated to just appearing for like 10 seconds or something. So I think this Red Skullcrawler, brand new design and everything, looks pretty sick. But I think also it will just be relegated to like 10 seconds or something of that sort. And it will just be defeated by Kong. Kind of showing Kong, maybe the Skullcrawler is defeated to show Kong brand new, like how strong he is now after all these years, and that's about it. I think that would be a good way to incorporate it, I guess.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the Queen Skullcrawler wasn't too big compared to Kong in the first movie in Skull Island. So now that he's bigger, I mean, unless they supersize the Skull Crawler, he can't be that much of a threat, most likely.
Yeah, exactly. Like maybe Monarch is there. They're investigating the area, and then that's when the Skull Crawler comes. It looks really massive threat, and then this huge Kong appears and absolutely destroys and obliterates the Red Skull Crawler, showing like, wow, Kong is absolutely powerful and he's super massive. That could be that transition point right there. Maybe when they're getting Geo or something. I
don't know. Do you think we're going to see Rodan and Mothra in the movie again?
Rodan and Mothra. Well, first of all, I really hope they appear.
Yeah, I do too.
A little bit.
I hope at the very least, Mothra comes back, because they did tease her coming back.
Exactly, with the egg.
Yes.
And they also mentioned that Rodan was in Fiji, which maybe you could have a little scene of Rodan in Fiji or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the Mothra egg. I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do.
Mm-hmm.
Even for the future, like for the future of the monsters, if it comes, I think it's theatrically. But do I think they'll appear? I just don't know where in the story they would really implement them. There's also no toys, apparently, of Mothra or Rodan, which I assume they would probably make.
Unless they look the same. But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the toy would be exactly the same, but, well, toy companies, you know how they are, they always, like, dishing out so many toys so they can get as much money as possible.
Yeah.
So I think we could have very brief cameos of them. I think it would be kind of cool if they actually did incorporate them, because we need some connective tissue between the monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. We do have some of that, but also interlinking the characters, the monster cast that was in the monsters with Godzilla vs. Kong. I think that's a very good idea. So they should have cameos, and I do think they will have some cameos here and there, but very brief ones.
Yeah, well, the paper clippings at the end of King of the Monsters did say that for a while the monsters were coexisting with humans, so maybe we'll see the humans at the beginning like actively just interacting with each one before everything goes haywire or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, you could have that, and then maybe this transitions into Kong and the people he's interacting with, which I don't know, his natives are extinct or something. I'm not sure what to do with that, but that could be a good transition point into Kong's environment and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so you did mention for a second that you think they would be good, at least for the future. So do you think that we will get a future MonsterVerse? I mean, Kong 2 is always likely, because there's plenty that could have happened between 70 whatever with Skull Island and now, so they could explore a lot with that. But do you think there's going to be a future of the MonsterVerse?
I think, well, I guess technically there is one in terms of the anime, but obviously we mean theatrically.
Yeah.
Theatrically, I mean, I guess it really all depends on Godzilla vs. Kong, the box office, which very weird times. I don't even know how you can quantify the box office now. There is some reports that New York will open their theaters like to 50% capacity, which would be great for Godzilla vs. Kong. So it really all depends on Godzilla vs. Kong. But personally, I think, given the hype there is for Godzilla vs. Kong and whatnot, I think they will renew the rights. I've even heard some people say they already did renew the rights, which maybe because the deal was to end in 2020, and because they had to extend it to 2021, maybe then there was some negotiation, like, hey, we're going to move to 2021 because of this pandemic. And so they make a new negotiation, which includes them having Godzilla's rights for a little bit more time, maybe. That's also possible. But yeah, I am pretty hopeful. I do think there will be a future of the monsters theatrically.
Okay, yeah. I'm in New Jersey, and I mean, we're pretty close to New York. We kind of follow suit with them, or at least, like, you know, maybe a step ahead of them sometimes, just because New York has so much more people. And only the AMCs here are open, but I mean, theaters are open. So.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
And last time I actually went, there was a decent amount of people in the movie theaters, so that is kind of hopeful.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We need as many movie theaters as possible. I mean, preferably it's safe, and then you open the theaters. But hopefully it's safe by now, and you can open the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I over here in California, I mean, there's definitely still. I don't know when they're gonna open, so it's a little bit bleak here in California. But hopefully in the rest of the country, it starts to slowly reopen.
Mm-hmm.
New York opens. All the other places that are closed open. So
yeah, I think Wonder Woman not doing too bad on HBO is a good sign that maybe because people are afraid of the hassle of going to a theater, that they'll just be like, oh look, Godzilla vs Kong is here, let me order it, and they without having to get up from their couch, and they'll just watch it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it's way less of a hassle, as you said. And Wonder Woman 1984 did do pretty decent. And also in addition to that, China's box office is actually pretty strong right now.
Yeah.
I saw some stats where it said the box office now was better than in 2019 or something like that, which is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Godzilla vs Kong explodes there. Maybe it does 200 million in China or something, which would be amazing. And then with all the HBO Max subscriptions, and then the people wanting an action movie because it's been so long since we've had movies and all that. That's especially an IMAX spectacle like Godzilla vs Kong, something like that of that magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like, you know what, we've been in this pandemic for so long, let me just try and relax for like 2 hours and see this movie of two giant monsters fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that could really boost sales. The only problem is I'm not sure how Warner Brothers will really quantify the HBO Max subscriptions in terms of the total gross of the movie. I'm not sure how that really translates, since it'll be kind of murky. They could be buying subscriptions for the Snyder Cut. They could be buying subscriptions for Godzilla vs Kong. I'm not exactly sure, but either way,
they can probably match the views per subscription. They can see how many people with an HBO subscription or how many who sign up for a subscription go and watch that movie specifically.
That'll be good. Yeah, okay, that'll be good.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
All right, so since we're sorry, go ahead.
I'm just gonna end my thought. So I think Godzilla vs Kong definitely has potential to do well and best contain monsters.
Okay, so since we're on the same topic, this idea has come floating back around again. So I wanted to get your opinion on it because I'm already seeing a couple videos being made on it, and people think that we're getting another post-credit scene in this one, which was supposed to be in the last one, where we're going to see a precursor to Destroy It. What do you think about that? Because I'm seeing this pop up again. There's people now making videos on this that think that the next enemy in the series will be Destroy It, and that we're getting a post-credit of him.
I mean, I do agree that Destroyer should be the next villain,
Mm-hmm.
but that's all just hypothetical. And if it continues, I don't think it's confirmed by any means. And it puts credits of Destroyer. I don't know. I mean, Destroyer is really fan favorites.
Mm-hmm.
This rumor, as you kind of alluded to, actually, was also alive and back in the Kingdom Monsters days. Like, oh, there's gonna be a Destroyer end credit scene and whatnot. So,
yeah. Can I address that? Can I address that to the fans real quick? Okay, so the original theory in King of Monsters before we got the King Ghidorah end credit scene was supposed to be after the Oxygen Destroyer was deployed. We're supposed to see, I think it was Charles Dance's character. That was his name, right? Charles Dance.
Yeah, that's
the villain in King of the Monsters. Yeah, we were supposed to see his character. He was supposed to be brought to a facility, and we were supposed to see like a tiny crustacean that was mutated, and then this was supposed to be hinted to the Oxygen Destroyer affecting or creating Destroyer that a lab or company now had access to. So that's what people were saying was going to happen in King of the Monsters. And we're speculating that Godzilla and Kong would team up with against Destroyer in this one, but obviously we know, well, not obviously, I mean, anything can happen, but we're pretty sure Destroyer is not going to be in this movie. And but people are speculating again that he's going to come back for the next movie.
Yep. So I think it's just very susceptible for us fans to be thinking, oh, destroy end credits, or destroy's going to appear, or tease the destroyer.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just very susceptible to that. And so I think this is another case. And the Kingdom Monsters case is a little weird because that guy was actually legit, except for that part and a few other parts. So maybe he can shoot it differently or something. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe the CGI was so bad that he couldn't tell, and so then he assumed it was just some crustacean type kaiju or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But either way, I think we're very susceptible to assuming destroy's gonna appear or something. So I think this end credits thing is very. I just don't think it's real. There's a lot of end credit rumors really in general, like oh Godzilla's dead, and then the end credits they resuscitate him or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't see why there would be an end credits in the first place, though.
Yeah, I think if we were to get end credits, I think we would need a longer break from Godzilla movies because with every major villain that's come back, we've had through the almost 60 years of Godzilla, there's been a long break in between with movies. So possibly they could be teasing another one, and then in maybe 5 years we could get another one or so. But I think with the level of destruction that we're seeing with King of the Monsters and with Godzilla vs. Kong, I think it would be too much for them within the next couple of years to rehash it all over again or like redo it all over again because you can only keep going so far.
Exactly. Like at some point, the entire world's going to be absolutely destroyed, and there'll be nothing else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And even just in general, plot-wise, I mean, you can't be having massive threat after massive threat after massive threat, because then you kind of get desensitized and like, oh, just some random monster, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
The stakes get removed. And also, I'm not sure what they can go with. I mean, they have MechaGodzilla, and I mean, I think MechaGodzilla would be great for another movie. Like, there's all this destruction that's happening in Godzilla 3 and Godzilla 4 and Godzilla 5 or whatever, and then humanity has enough of Godzilla and the monsters, so they just build MechaGodzilla to defeat Godzilla and whatnot. So I think that would be pretty good for the continuation, but we know Mecha did in this movie, so they can't do that anymore. So I'm not sure where they can go with. I guess maybe just some little prequel movies here and there. Kong 2 could be a prequel movie.
Mm-hmm. And then I think Kong 2 is very likely because they still have all the rights to Kong. Kong is Legendary's monster.
Exactly, yeah. So I think Kong 2 is likely. We could have a prequel movie with I forget the names, but like the soldiers and Skull Islands.
Yeah.
The Japanese or the Vietnamese, I think it's Vietnamese soldier and a U.S. soldier. We could have a prequel of that.
Yeah.
We could also have a sequel. For Godzilla 3, on the other hand, I'm not sure. Maybe you can make some. Yeah, I'm not really sure. You could have some cyborg things, maybe some hybrid things, or it's for Godzilla 3 is a little bit more murky. That's for sure. For Kong though, a little bit more bright though.
I wonder if a good transition would be since we know aliens exist now in the universe. I mean, with Ghidorah, that's kind of just a given now because they established him as an alien or a space being at least. They could go that route where all these monsters start coming from space, and it would have to be like a destroy all monsters where all the Earth defenders would have to fight the space monsters and something like that. But that would have to be like a final type movie because there is speculation for another movie. Like I don't know if you saw this, but there was a gallery somewhere where it showed like a timeline of all the Legendary movies, and then there in the last slot there was like a blank space or something, which left people thinking that there could be one more movie.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think about that? How we start seeing like things like Gigan and Megalon and like different aliens coming down from space, and it would have to be like an Earth Defender movie versus space invader movie.
I think that would be pretty damn sick.
That would have to be the final movie, though, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if you have an alien comes by, and then the next movie another alien comes by, and another alien, like that just gets very repetitive. It gets stakes are not there. So I think that would be a very good idea. It does sound a little cheesy, but the monsterverse kind of just went to the cheese fest. So who cares? I want to see giant monsters fighting each other. So yeah, hell yeah, do that. There's also ideas of Gigan or more natural origins for them. You could also do that too. Maybe Gigan is some organism that's just placed with some mechanic parts or something. Maybe Megalon is some pre-existing creature that exists naturally on Earth or something. I don't know. But I think the alien route would be really cool. And, well, yeah, as you said, Ghidorah opened his Pandora's box of introducing aliens. So I think that would be a really cool idea for a last movie. You could also have Destroya as the final boss, because I really want Destroya somehow, but I'm not sure if it'll be a little bit too anticlimactic. I don't know, because I guess Destroya would just be some random mutation or something, so
yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely a lot of routes you can go with, but the alien one is a good one.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, Endgame kind of went all out with like a full army versus an army. So this could do it. Who knows?
Yeah.
One more topic I wanted to touch on, unless you have anything more to say about that.
I was gonna say that the army idea is really cool. If Destroy was the final villain of the Monsterverse, for example, if that was Destroy All Monsters, then I guess it would just be like 5 different Titans versus 1. It'd be a little weird. So the army idea is really, really cool, in my opinion. So that's all I want to say.
Okay. All right. So this last thing I want to get into, and this is the most recent thing I've been hearing people talk about, and there is good evidence for this one. Have you heard this Minera thing yet?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you've seen there's a toy, apparently, with the title of Minera.
Yep, I actually checked the website stuff, man. It does exist.
I did too, because I order from Big Bad's toy store all the time. So what do you think about this? Like, do you have any inside information on this, or do you know anything more about this?
So yeah, that's
without giving away any major spoilers.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of speculation about Little Godzilla and Godzilla Jr. But there is a show in Japan, 2019. I'm not sure when it came out, but it's called Godzilla, I'm not sure how you say it. But they have a character called Minera, and it's basically like a Manila. I don't know, it looks like Manila. But I think that's really what it is. I think it's just a figure for that Godzilla show, which is around the same time as Godzilla vs. Kong, I guess, 2020, 2019, something like that. So I think that's really all it is. I think if they do add Godzilla Jr. in the first place, as the toy alludes to, then I think that's just too much in the movie. We have Kong, we have Godzilla, Godzilla's wife is being so erratic, we have Godzilla, we have the Ghidorah head type thing, we have Apex. I think it would just be way too much to include Godzilla's son in it. You could have that for a future movie. That's a really good idea for a future movie. Maybe when Destroyer comes, then he kills that son, and then kind of like a Godzilla vs. Destroyer remake type thing or reboot type thing. But in regards to this movie, no, I don't think Godzilla Jr.
So you think this is going to be the same Godzilla throughout the whole movie? Because people think Godzilla dies. People think Kong dies. So you don't think Godzilla will die and his son will be fighting Kong or something? Something like that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the same boat. I'm not sure what it's about, honestly. Your theory sounds the most credible. That it could just be crossover with whatever this thing is. I honestly haven't heard about it until you just mentioned it. But yeah, I think I'm on the same boat with that. That actually reminded me of something I did want to bring up before as well. That if MechaGodzilla is in this movie and he's disguised as Godzilla, do you think it would be a good idea, or would you entertain it? Because I would look forward to it, that there would be 2 Godzillas fighting each other.
If fake Godzilla was in the movie, then yeah, we need to have a scene like that. Godzilla vs. Godzilla, that's a fantastic concept, and I think it would be a missed opportunity if they did not do that in this movie. Because
people think it's going to be mostly Kong fighting MechaGodzilla, but I haven't really seen anyone talk about the idea that following the continuity of Godzilla versus MechaGodzilla in 1974, there are two Godzillas fighting each other. So that would be kind of awesome to see in this movie.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty damn sick.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm also, since I'm on the side of no fake Godzilla, I think they could still do that idea later on. You could have maybe some organization, they want to create almost like their own Godzilla. MechaGodzilla did not work in this movie, so this time let's actually make our own Godzilla with flesh and bone, some hybrid Godzilla type thing. Almost like a space Godzilla type hybrid, except not from space.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a Godzilla vs. Godzilla, like a true Godzilla vs. Godzilla standoff, because I think that concept in of itself almost deserves its own movie, and it shouldn't be in Godzilla vs. Kong, because that should just be Godzilla and Kong, while another movie should just be Godzilla versus hybrid Godzilla or something.
Okay, yeah, it's not a bad idea, but I thought I was the only one entertaining it, since I was the only one who brought it up in recent. I haven't seen any videos done about that. I just wanted to get your opinion on it.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even consider it either. So yeah, that would be really cool. That would just be a missed opportunity if they did not do that. If fake Godzilla was in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So for the last thing, I just wanted to get your overall impressions of everything. Are you hyped for the movie? What are your expectations at all for the movie?
Okay, so
or
yeah,
like you can go into you can start if you want to, leading up to that period of silence we had between King of the Monsters and now, before we got a poster or the first poster or something in the first trailer where it was kind of like a dead zone. Like, you can start there and go into now if you'd like.
Yep. Okay. So right now I'm very hyped for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
At some points, if you asked me that question maybe like a year ago or 8 months ago or something,
mm-hmm.
and I would definitely say, nah, I'm not really hyped, because there was a complete dead zone of just nothing. Like, oh, brand new poster, and that poster repeated itself for like 8 months straight. And that was kind of annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kept getting absolutely nothing. It was just the hype was dying down. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And the thing with the pandemic and the delays and then the reshoots, which they weren't extensive, but still, they kind of just brought down the morale of pretty much every Godzilla fan. But now we have all this footage, and all of a sudden, like, it just appears. And before that, we had the Brazil Comic-Con type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of cool. That was entertaining for a little bit, but then it just died down. But yeah, now we have all this stuff, and it looks pretty damn awesome. The CGI looks amazing,
mm-hmm.
because mainly because Weta, the people who made 2014, are making it again. So that's probably why. And they had so much time to do CGI, the delays and whatnot. So it looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And the monster action looks so cool. Hopefully there's no slapstick humor that's like really bad, because I think the monsters had too much of that. I think that brought down the movie too much for me. So hopefully that's kind of removed.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Warner Brothers heard the reactions to King of the Monsters, and maybe because Godzilla vs. Kong apparently has a shorter runtime than all the other MonsterVerse movies, maybe that's them cutting out these dumb jokes and the human scenes, which are just completely boring. Which I'm not one of those fans who say, oh, I just want Godzilla fighting people or Godzilla fighting monsters and that's it. I think human scenes are very, very important, but Warner Brothers and the MonsterVerse, they're not really good at making human characters. So
mm-hmm.
at this point, maybe they remove some of that, they remove some of the humor, and they just insert in all these different kaijus and monster battles and all that. So hopefully that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, for a runtime, hopefully it flows better too. And I do have high hopes for this movie. I hope it turns out good. I hope Mecha G is executed very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's all powerful. Well, I guess we'll see. But hopefully he's powerful. I'm not sure if he will be. But I really hope that's the case. And daytime fights. That's pretty damn awesome that we're getting that. And a Hong Kong City battle. Really cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think they really did listen to fans on that one.
Yeah. So, those are my overall thoughts.
Okay.
I hope.
That's good. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. If you asked me, like, over a year ago, around when King of the Monsters were released, I was like, seeing all the stuff for that, I was like, this almost looks like it could be the final movie. Like this looks close to what is a Destroy All Monsters type movie. And I thought, there's no way that Godzilla vs. Kong could top this. Like, it was unlikely. So I was still hyped for it. I was hyped for everything, but I thought it just wouldn't be as good. And then, I saw everything come out, and I was completely blown away by the first trailer, and I was like, this looks great. So I can't wait for this one. I think they executed it perfectly so far. I think besides that they took a while to market it, which was probably the only mistake they made. Everything else came out great. The CGI looks really good. The fights look really good. The tone of the movie looks really good. And again, I'm glad it's back in the mainstream, that every page is posting about it no matter where you go. And I think it's going to do very well.
Yeah. I guess that also summarizes my thoughts as well. So hopefully it does good. The marketing could have been a little bit, I don't know, maybe do something a little bit earlier, but I think so far they're doing good. Hopefully in the second trailer we get more of the actual story, because action battles is really cool, but I do want some of that story, a little bit more substance. But yeah, so far everything is fantastic. Marketing is pretty good marketing. So hopefully this movie does good too. And I had the same opinion about this movie earlier. Regarding the Team of Monsters, how it almost seems like a Destroy All Monsters movie. So I had that same exact thought too, like, wow, how can they even top this? But it looks great. It looks really great. So, yeah.
Yeah. One thing I will just advise them is to start just dishing out TV spots. That would be the only thing. Get that a lot more on TV. But the trailer has 61, if not 62 by now, million views. So, I mean, they're doing something right. So I trust them.
Yeah. I think we'll probably get trailer 2 around February 20 something, like end of February. And then from there, just TV spots. Hopefully they don't show everything in the movie like they did in the King of Monsters TV spots.
Yeah.
They showed, I think they even showed Burning Godzilla, so you see the toy name. Burning Godzilla releasing his pulse onto Ghidorah. That was in the TV spots.
Yeah.
And that was not a good decision at all.
Yeah.
So hopefully they did not go that route. We see MechaGodzilla dying in the TV spot or something. That would just be really bad.
Yeah. If anything, I want like a tiny glimpse of him, not even his head, his arm or something.
Exactly, yeah, just like a very, very brief glimpse or something. Maybe, yeah, exactly, just glimpses. That's all I want. Maybe you can have energy attacks that like look really weird. Obviously, they're not from Godzilla or Kong, so it has to be MechaGodzilla. That sort of thing. Not, oh look, there's MechaGodzilla full body reveal. I want that for the actual movie, and hopefully there's none of that in trailer 2. I'm really scared. I worry that there will be a full body shot of Mecha G there. It is Warner Brothers, the same company who revealed Doomsday in the second trailer. So I hope that's not the case. I really hope that's not the case. I hope they learn.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got for this chat. I think this is good combo for fans. What do you think?
Yep, I agree.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Thanks for coming on. I hope to talk to you again soon. There's probably going to be more to discuss with, trailer 2, speculation going forward and whatnot. So if you want to come on again, we could definitely do another one of these.
Yep, I'll be happy to do so. It was also fun discussing.
All right, cool. All right, I'll talk to you later, bro.
All right, see ya, man.
See ya.
Have a good day.
Thanks, too.